Hails, Barbell Barbarians, Alex from Inner World Strength here. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about virtuous cycles. So, you've all heard of the term vicious cycle, which is where, one bad thing leads to another bad thing, and then another bad thing, and then those bad things just feed into the original bad thing, and it just becomes a whole vicious cycle you know, of shit that just eventually spirals into complete disaster. All right, like you can have an example where you have a drug addict. All right, so uh, you have a drug addict who starts stealing money from his parents to get his fix, and then that just leads to further drug addiction, and then that leads to further crime and even further drug addiction, and it just becomes a whole vicious cycle until usually these things end very, very badly for everybody. All right, so don't do drugs, kids. um, but I wanted to talk about virtuous cycles. Now, virtuous cycle is obviously the opposite of a vicious cycle, where you start off with a good thing and then eventually it leads to another good thing and then another good thing, and then it just kind of creates a virtuous cycle, a cycle of good things which build up to even better things. All right. So in the context of inner war, always the virtuous cycle is strength training. Okay. So if you go to the gym and if you train seriously and you have some serious goals in the gym, you're going to do whatever you can in order to achieve those goals. Right. Now, you might cheat, you might take some shortcuts, uh, but you're going to do things that are going to be conducive towards achieving those goals. All right. Now, what do I mean? Like, let's say, for instance, getting stronger. Getting stronger is a goal in and of itself. Okay. Now, it's a goal that, it never ends because, you know, getting stronger isn't, there's no like end point where you say, you know what, I'm strong enough now. I think I don't want to be any stronger than what I am now. All right, I'm done. No, you always want to be getting stronger. And because there's many ways to measure strength, either number of reps for a specific weight or just the weight on the bar. There's nearly an infinite number of possibilities of for different exercises you can get stronger at. I mean, the possibilities are almost endless. All right. But let's just say your general goal is to get stronger. Okay. So what does that mean? That means that you're going to be going to the gym consistently. You're going to be following a program. Okay. And to be doing those things, your lifestyle needs to be able to support the things that you do towards that goal, which means if you're going to the gym consistently, and by consistently, I mean on a regular basis, obviously, I mean, you're going every weekday or every day, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, whatever it is. All right. You have your gym days that you go every single week, day in, day out, never fail. Okay. You never miss a training day, ever. You should never miss a training day. Anyway, um, you're going to think twice about doing something that may potentially sabotage that training day and set you back towards your goal, right? So, for instance, if it's Saturday night, but tomorrow on Sunday, you promised your gym buddy that you were going to go and do bench or something. All right. Or maybe the program says that you need to go do bench. So on Saturday night, you're going to think twice about going out and getting blasted. All right. Because then in the morning, when it's Sunday and you got to go to the gym, ain't nobody going to the gym with a hangover. All right. No. So you're going to think twice. All right. And this is something that I've seen from firsthand as well, and even from me, or even from myself, right? Like I don't drink, you know. I'll have an occasional beer and maybe a whiskey now and again, but I don't drink nearly as much as I used to, and nowadays if I go out, I'll barely drink at all, and even if I do, I'll maybe have a couple of beers and that's it, right? Because I just don't want to have a hangover in the morning, right? It's just not something I want to deal with anymore. And the reason I don't drink anymore is exactly because um, when I was going to the gym every day, and going out maybe at night when I was in when I was in my 20s and stuff, um, I didn't want to, have a lousy day at the gym the next day. So I created a virtuous cycle where I kicked a bad habit, which fed into creating a good habit. All right. And it's the same thing, like, let's say, with your nutrition. All right. If you have a goal, your goal is to get stronger, you want to be successful in the gym, you're going to start thinking more about what you're putting in your body as well, in terms of what you're eating. Okay. So you're going to start thinking, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have that McDonald's cheeseburger. Maybe I should just, leave that for a cheat day sometime. Okay. Maybe I should just, maybe I'll eat some proper food. Maybe I'll have some steak and some rice, or some chicken and some potatoes, something like that. All right. Maybe you'll start counting your calories a little bit. Maybe you'll start measuring things out because you're like, okay, you know what? I'm not performing as well as I should be in the gym. Maybe I need to be eating more. Okay, but how much more do I need to be eating? Let me figure it out. I'll figure out the calories, figure out my macros, proteins, carbs, and fats, figure out how many calories I need to be eating, and, you'll see results. And when you start doing that and you start seeing results and you start seeing how successful it is, then you'll keep doing it. And again, you're building a virtuous cycle. And this virtuous cycle feeds in on itself as like a positive feedback loop. Okay, so one good thing will feed back into another good thing and then another good thing. And you'll keep doing it because you're going to keep seeing results. And the best thing about this thing is that eventually, once you've been doing it long enough, it just becomes second nature to you, man. It just becomes part of who you are. And it's no longer a conscious thing where you have to think about, oh, you know what, I really need to push myself to do this thing. No, it just becomes part of who you are, right? Like eating clean for me is just part of who I am now, right? I'll give you an example. Today for lunch, I had the driest fucking chicken breast you can imagine. It tasted like a fucking pencil eraser, okay? Along with some rice. Uh, you think I cared how it tasted? No, I ate it because I knew that's what I have to eat, right? And I'm just so used to it now that I don't care. So I've managed to create a virtuous cycle in my life where my nutrition, my sleep, and my training, and the things I do on a daily basis all kind of feed into one another in a way that then a way it's kind of centered around my training, right? So that might sound like, very one dimensional to most people. Most people are gonna be like, oh my God, bro, your whole life is just going to the gym and you just, everything you do in life is just kind of just revolves around your training. That's so pathetic, No, you're pathetic because you're the one who doesn't have any goals. All right. So um having training as something that underpins your entire lifestyle is in fact a very positive thing, right? Because if you don't have that and you're just like, oh, whatever, I'll eat whatever, I'll sleep however many hours I can, I don't care, I'll smoke, I'll drink, I'll go out partying, I'll do whatever, I'll do whatever makes me feel good. That's not a positive way to live your life. All right. That's just literally just pursuing pleasure. All right. And, if you think that's a good way to live, a virtuous way to live, then, essentially, you're no different than a drug addict because a drug addict is basically just pursuing his own pleasure, right? He's trying to get his fix. He's trying to make himself, well, at some point, they just try to avoid feeling like shit. But, again, it's the same thing, right? So, yeah, create a virtuous cycle. Use your time at the gym and use your motivation and your goals in the gym to create virtuous cycles in your life. So, again, optimizing your nutrition, optimizing your sleep, making sure you get 7 to 8 hours of good quality, deep sleep, right? And if you go out partying and you got training the next day, you're not gonna get those 7, 8 hours, you know whatever, you might get 5 hours, but you're going to be hung over the next day. You're going to feel like garbage. No, you've sabotaged your entire training. You've sabotaged your your goals. All right. So yeah, use your fitness goals, use your strength goals, your goals in the gym to create a virtuous cycle in your lifestyle. And I guarantee you, you're going to see amazing results. All right. Let me know what your virtuous cycles are in the comments below. Go to innerwarstrength.com, buy some cool gear, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.